Hi everybody, I'm Pam Hastings, Education Specialist for Simplicity Pattern Company. And today we're going to be working on the front pocket of your SUEDEsays Pattern 0109 tote bag. The first thing I'd like you to do is to press the pleat in on the front pocket. I know it's not necessarily the first thing that you're told to do, but it'll make it a little bit easier in the end. And I just want to go over with you how to make a pleat. I've marked my fabric with a Sharpie, which you don't want to do. You're going to, just so that you guys can see what I'm doing, you're going to want to use a chalk, a water-soluble marker, whatever your preferred method of marking your fabric is. When you make a pleat, there's straight lines and then there's a dotted line. You're going to fold along the straight line and make a crease, and then bring that crease to the center dotted line. And the same thing on the other side. Okay, and now I have a nice box pleat in the center of my bag, on my front pocket. The next thing we're going to do is sew the zippers to the top of our pocket. I have my pleat pressed in, but you can see I needed to open it out for sewing my pockets, for sewing my zippers on. I laid my fabric flat again. I just opened up where I had the pleat. What you need to do is fold under the edge or the top of the tape and line the zipper up with the top dot. There'll be a dot, so make sure when you're doing this that you mark all the dots and such that are on the pattern. Okay? You can see here I've already sewn in one side of the zipper. Now I'm going to sew in my other zipper. What I've done when I lined it up, I lined up the raw edge of my fabric along the zipper teeth. You're going to sew close to the zipper teeth, about 1/4 inch away, and now I'm going to sew the next one. I have my zipper partially opened because I'm going to sew a little bit of the way down, and then I'm going to close the zipper. You want to do this because if you try and sew around that zipper pull, it's just going to make a mess, and your stitches are going to go a little off kilter, and it's just not going to look pretty. Oops. Teeth out of the way. You're going to sew part way down, leave your needle in the fabric, lift up your presser foot, and then I'm going to close the zipper. There we go. It's very important to leave the needle in the fabric when you do that. I'm just going to continue sewing the rest of the way down. Once the zipper is sewn in, you're going to turn back that seam allowance, and you're going to continue turning it down in between the two zippers, all the way across. And then you're going to do your second row of stitching right under the edge, very close to the edge of the zipper tape. And you can see that I have that done on this piece. Okay, you can see where I sewed the bottom edge close to the zipper tape, and I continued it across there. When you place your fabric or your outside pocket on the bag front, what I would suggest is that you fold it into the pleat. Then you're able to match up the two notches and the edge of your fabric. Okay? And then you know that your bag is perfectly centered on your fabric. Okay, once your pocket is centered, you're going to stitch down the center line of the pleat to secure it in place. Then we simply fold the pleat back up on both sides. Line up your zippers, pin them in place, and just like we stitched close to the bottom edge of the zipper, you're going to stitch close to the top edge of the zipper all the way across. Then after you do that, you're going to stitch baste all the way around the bottom edge here, just to make sure that the pocket stays securely against the bag front. And that's all there is to it.